guys, it's Jess, and today I am going to do a top 10 books for nerds. So, number 1, I have the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. The reason why they're on this list is, of course, Greek mythology. Everything you could ever learn about Greek mythology is in these books. Or if you're like me and you have always kind of had an interest in Greek, or more, I'm more into the Roman mythology is what I'm more familiar with. It is a really great review, and a lot of the jokes and so on he puts in there you catch if you're already familiar with the stories. There is also Latin in these books, which is, in my book, super cool. I was homeschooled and I studied Latin when I was being homeschooled, and then later on when I was in college too, and it's just fantastic. I don't know why, but I just geek out about that so much. Latin is super cool. Number 2, Vicious by V.E. Schwab. The reason why this one is on the list is because superheroes. Yes, I am a huge fan of superheroes or people with superpowers. Number 3 is also a superhero-y sort of book, and that is The Amazing Adventures of Kavalier Clay by Michael Chabon. I don't know if that's actually how you say his name, but whatever. This is a huge book. I believe it's like 700 to 800 pages or so. It took me forever to read it. It is a little bit slow, I do admit, at some parts, but the reason why it's on this list is because it is all about comic books and the golden age of comic books around the 1940s and going into the 50s a little bit. From what I can tell from this book, from what I read, and then the acknowledgements at the end, there was an acknowledgement for Stan Lee, which was super cool. Stan Lee actually makes an appearance in this book, which is also super cool. So, despite this book being a little bit of a chunker and a little bit slow, it is definitely nerd-worthy. Number 4 is Survival with Style by Bradford Angier. There we go. This book is definitely the go-to book for any fans of My Side of the Mountain or any kind of survival in the outdoors type book. Actually, could even apply to the zombie apocalypse. It's been a really long time since I have read this one, but we had this book when I was growing up. My parents ended up getting rid of it, and now I got a copy because it is that good. I'll show you some of the pictures that are in this book. They're super cool. And it's just all diagrams and so on, and sections on basically how to survive in the wilderness, as it says. I realize this is not a typical nerdy book, but for anybody who loves the outdoors or just loves survival and how you would survive if you happen to be in that situation, this is definitely on my list. Number 5, Feeling Alive. The Young Sherlock Holmes series by Andrew Lane. These are really good. If you are a fan of Sherlock Holmes, the books, or TV show, or whatever, these are definitely the books for you. I am not a huge fan of spin-off books for any literary character. I feel like, the Sherlock Holmes character is kind of a one-of-a-kind. I don't feel like, for the most part, anybody can write him as well as Sir Arthur Conan Doyle did. Just very fun, entertaining. They're also quite clever. They're written for more middle school level, so they're not super in-depth or anything, but they are fun, fast read. These are actually the UK editions, so they don't actually quite look like this in the US, and I think you have to special order them because I don't think Barnes & Noble stocks them or anywhere else really in the US. I would definitely recommend you check them out. Number 6. These are also not very conventional nerd books, but they are fantastic, and I found them on Amazon, so you can definitely pick them up. I actually picked them up at a local shop, and there are several. I only happen to have 2 board books based on classical literature for little kids. Books that hipster literary parents give their kids. There are several different versions of these on the market, but as you can see, the ones I have are Sherlock Holmes, which is all sounds. I also have Moby Dick, which I don't particularly think teaches anything. I think it's just a picture book. There's like Sense and Sensibility, of course based on Jane Austen, which is like opposites. I think there's a Dracula one, which is counting, obviously. If you have a child in your life, you may need to start them on literature early with these. Just to give you a closer look here, this one is actually based on The Hound of the Baskervilles. And here's some like pictures from it, and then the sound. There's another one. It's just really awesome. Moby Dick's pretty cool. There's all the sailors. It's basically a word book. Number 7, Her Ladyship's Guide to the Queen's English by Caroline Taggart. Yes. Yes, I got it right. For anybody who's a Britlit nut like I am, or just loves the English language, this is definitely the book for you. I know I featured this before in our Books and Baubles tag, so this is not its first appearance on this channel. I had to order this for a class in college, and I kept it because it is so nice. I actually admit that I have not read everything in this book, but there is so much information on spellings and proper usage of grammar and so on, just a whole lot of stuff. My favorite section is the section on British royalty and nobility. Anybody who's a Downton Abbey fan needs to read that section because it is all about how to address, like, say an earl, for example, like Downton Abbey, like how you would address him in public, first time, second time, in writing, so on. This is just a fantastic little book, and I love it. Number 8 is a book that I actually recently finished, and I know it's out there quite a bit, so this is pretty mainstream already, is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This is a fantastic book, and I know a lot of people say that. I want to give a little details why it's on this list and why I think it's so fantastic, because I feel like people say it's really good and they don't say why so much. That is such a well-rounded book. It combines this sort of pop culture from the 80s, references to 80s shows, both popular and kind of obscure. So yes, this is a book that you definitely need to pick up if you haven't already. Number 9, continuing on the video game sort of theme, I have these Zelda Mega. I actually got these a while back, I think while I was in high school. They follow the Ocarina of Time timeline. It is basically a retelling of that video game. The artwork is also really cool. This is volume 2 right here. They're just kind of fun. And number 10, last book, which I do not have with me. I lent it out, but it is The Martian by Andy Weir. The book is definitely, by far, probably one of the most nerdy things I have ever read. The plot of this book in a nutshell is astronaut Mark Watney is a bandit on Mars, and he basically has to find out how to survive, and somehow with no technology get a message back to NASA to pick him up and save him. There's a lot of mathematical nerdiness. To be honest, I wouldn't even know all the terms I should be using, but basically it is very mathematical and a lot of calculations in relativeness to space. Obviously I fail when I even talk about it. There's also just a lot of fun nerdiness, like Doctor Who references. I know Lord of the Rings is in there. It's been a little while since I ever read this one too, but there was just a lot of stuff like that. Even if you're not a super scientist person. It's also just lighthearted and fun, and if you're just in need of a good adventure that isn't depressing or anything, I would definitely read The Martian right now and then go see the movie. And that is my top 10 nerdy books list. If you guys have any nerdy books that you love and you would like to share, please leave them in the comments below. I love reading this kind of stuff, so I am always looking for more recommendations and love to geek out about this kind of stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon with another one. Bye!